And that's the purpose of my tattoo. It's not an ideological statement. It's a reminder that in life, when you get knocked down, you have to get back up off the canvas and keep pushing, get back in the game. That's the story of Nixon. A man is not finished when he is defeated. He's only finished when he quits.
The Nixon tattoo is really all you need to know about Roger, because he thinks Nixon's approach to politics, the toughness, the win-at-all-cost mentality, that's what Roger reflects.
Delegates to the Young Republicans Convention in Memphis have chosen as their chairman a conservative with a Watergate past.
Watergate dominated this convention because the Republican Party's important youth arm was about to be taken over by Roger Stone, a 25-year-old political operative who was deeply involved in the 1972 Nixon Dirty Tricks campaign.
They embellished what was a 20-year-old kid's role into being the mastermind of Watergate. Roger saw the opportunity to build a reputation off of being viewed as that politically significant.
Opponents of Stone contend that his election is part of a move by conservative activists to take over the Republican Party.
When we elected Roger, we moved the Republican Party in a more ideological direction. Up until that point, it was straddling sort of the old Republican establishment and the new conservative movement that was started in the Barry Goldwater days. We built on that, and I think when Roger was elected chairman of the Young Republicans, that was sort of the piece that finalized everything.
For many years, the Republican Party was associated with a sort of good guy, Eisenhower earnestness. What happened with the new right was there was a new generation of people who said, you know what, we're going to fight dirty and we're going to win.
Among the revolutionary changes in American politics the past few years has been the rise of the political action committees, called PACs, fundraising groups for special interests.
NCPAC, the National Conservative Political Action Committee, based in Virginia, rich in money, and dedicated to doing in the nation's liberals. Even its director, Terry Dolan, says, if that means using the politics of fear.
I don't think there's anything wrong with fear.
I met Terry Dolan when we were teenage Republicans together in Connecticut.
When we got married, Terry was our best man, but more than that, he actually ended up moving in with us. We used to refer to him as the child. It was on our living room floor that NCPAC was born.
NCPAC, the National Conservative Political Action Committee, is transformative in the sense that we really pioneered negative campaign advertising in massive doses to win elections. Up to that time, it really hadn't been done.
I came to Washington for the Wall Street Journal in the very end of 1983. And Roger was already kind of a legend by then, kind of a dark legend, because of the negative ads that he and NCPAC had run. So people thought of him as kind of a wizard behind the scenes. I remember meeting him on the street and thinking, wow, that's Roger Stone.
First by telling us he's fighting inflation. The price tag on that baloney is $46 billion. Because if Buy wins, you lose.
The story of NCPAC is that after Watergate, there were campaign finance reforms to try to control the corruption in spending on politics. So what the Republicans did was they figured out a way around the new rules.
The focus of NCPAC was to use all the tools of a campaign, but instead of having a candidate, to use it through a political action committee.
We could only give a Senate campaign in a direct financial transfer of $5,000. But the loophole was we could advertise on behalf of a candidate without their cooperation or coordination an unlimited amount. And that's why NCPAC was successful.
It was a political disaster for Senate Democrats. They not only lost
Wizard behind the scenes. I remember meeting him on the street and thinking, wow, that's Roger Stone.
First by telling us he's fighting inflation. The price tag on that baloney is $46 billion. Because if Buy wins, you lose.
The story of NCPAC is that after Watergate, there were campaign finance reforms to try to control the corruption in spending on politics. So what the Republicans did was they figured out a way around the new rules.
The focus of NCPAC was to use all the tools of a campaign, but instead of having a candidate, to use it through a political action committee.
We could only give a Senate campaign in a direct financial transfer of $5,000. But the loophole was we could advertise on behalf of a candidate without their cooperation or coordination an unlimited amount. And that's that's why NICTAC was successful.
It was a political disaster for Senate Democrats. They not only lost control of the Senate, they lost some of the biggest names in the Democratic Party and many of their most prominent liberals.
Regrettably, NICTAC consistently plays to the dark side of human nature. Its stock in trade is the half-truth, the innuendo, the distortion.
Power is what PACs are about. The power to raise and give money to political candidates who in turn will at least give them a hearing and at best do their bidding.
Roger was one of the inventors of the modern political system, the PACs, the super PACs. That is where Roger has made his influence, and it continues to be felt.
I'm convinced that at some point with these type of programs, you could elect Mickey Mouse to the House of the Senate.
Ronald Reagan for president. He'll make America great again.
With the district where it's Congressman Gary Lake. After this, we go to the 32nd district where those guys just got knocked off the ballot.
All right, you look at this. 1980, Ronald Reagan defeats Jimmy Carter. I was running 3 northeastern states for Reagan as regional political director. I think most observers didn't recognize Reagan's enormous appeal to blue-collar Catholics and working-class people. And of course, he carried all 3 states in the presidency. And I'm proud of the fact that I played some tiny infinitesimal role in saving the United States by electing Ronald Reagan. The Reagan voter is a blue-collar, working-class, middle education, middle-income level voter.
Roger identified the Reagan Democrat. He actually wrote up the strategy for reaching out specifically to the blue-collar and the Catholic vote.
He tends to be a second, third generation Catholic, Italian, Irish, Polish.
The Reagan Democrat was a critical part of bringing over states